The criteria that we kind of all talked about whenever we came up with our list were Hall of Fame level type players. Either they're either in the Hall of Fame, they're maybe on their way to the Hall of Fame. You know, according to most fans, they're going to be regarded as franchise type players. And the most important requirement here is they have to be fucking losers.
Point guard, he's a beast, but CP3 is definitely a loser. He's a fucking loser.
Chris Paul, huh?
Chris Paul.
I'm going to talk history for a moment, okay? And this is the main reason that I put him on my list.
Man, don't disrespect Chris Paul too much.
Conference finals droughts, okay? Out of the entire NBA, the current longest streaks without making it to the conference finals for any team on both East and West conferences. Number one, the Clippers. They've gone 46 seasons without making it to the conference finals. 2 on the list is Washington with 37 years, which that's another story. Number 3 on that list, Charlotte, the Hornets, where Chris Paul actually began his career. Those are the 3 longest droughts, and he's been the main guy on 2 of those teams for the last 12 seasons.
My 2 guard, I'll go Joe Johnson.
Joe Johnson.
Joe Johnson.
He was the guy.
He's
in
definitely
Atlanta
a bum.
For quite a
He's
while.
definitely a bum.
He's
He's
definitely
definitely a bum.
for sure. He had
Overpaid.
he had his years in Phoenix where
Yeah, and I don't consider Joe Johnson an elite player, but he was given elite money and teams. When he was in Atlanta, he's supposed to be the guy. He's supposed to be the guy. He's supposed to be the guy.
I do recall a time when Joe Johnson, I think, was either the 2nd or 3rd highest player in the league at one point.
Yeah.
And I think only Tracy McGrady or somebody had a higher contract.
Atlanta overpaid for him.
That's a good one, Joe Johnson.
Carmelo at the 3, man.
Anybody else got Melo on the list? Melo seems to be our unanimous pick. You know, we all kind of somewhat talked about it, and whenever we first brought up this idea, the first thought was, fucking Melo, he's a fucking loser. But let's kind of, just so you guys can get an understanding of what we mean by a loser, career loser, to make this list. I'm going to go over a couple of the stats that kind of some would think help Melo, but are reasons why we all kind of feel this way about him as that guy. Okay, so Carmelo Anthony's played in the NBA 15 seasons, guys. Does it feel like 15 seasons of Melo? 15 seasons. He's an 11-time All-Star. One of those was last year, but let's be honest, Melo's kind of fallen off for the past few years, and the All-Star has really just been kind of a popularity contest. You know, so I don't know if he's earned his last 1 or 2 All-Star appearances, but in those 15 seasons, 7 with Denver. Of course, they drafted him, and then we're currently in his 8th season with the Knicks. Okay, so now he did something that even LeBron James didn't do in his first year, which was make the playoffs. He actually made the playoffs 7 out of 7 years with Denver. 7 out of 7 times with Denver, 3 out of 8 years with New York. So the second half of his career is where he's really fallen off. But the key thing that I found whenever I was looking over the playoffs in Carmelo's career, he's only been to 1 conference final in his entire career, and that was with Denver. That was with Denver.
Lost to the Spurs, right?
Yeah, and other than that, I mean, he's been basically a first round, second round exit every season. You know, so another thing is, you know, we've seen him. I think it's safe to say the Knicks are the joke of the NBA right now.
Easily.
Right?
And somehow they always find their way on national television. Like, come on, man, y'all can't give me a better game to watch on a Friday night. But you know, I think he doesn't get enough of the blame as Phil Jackson. He's insisting on his team to run the triangle offense.
Yeah, and outdated.
He doesn't have the personnel to run the triangle offense.
That's true.
I think Melo's definitely to blame, but I think Phil Jackson's equally to blame.
For sure. And I think, you know, with all the things that have happened lately, and you know, you have O.T. getting into a fight at the game. They've now banned him today from Madison Square Garden, which
how do you do that? How do you do that?
I can't think of any other franchise that would disrespect their players like that.
Nobody's gonna want to play for them after that. That's how they treat their legends.
Yeah. Especially in today's NBA, where you don't have to live in Los Angeles or New York in order to get that big time money. You know, that the money's coming either way with the contracts and the shoe deals and commercials. So, you know, if you're marketable, you're marketable. You know, you no longer have to go to those big cities. So, go ahead, finish up the list. So far, you've got, you said you had Chris Paul at the point guard, Joe Johnson at the shooting guard. That was a good one. I think we've all got Melo at the small forward.
I got one for you.
All right, here we go.
At the 4?
Power Marcus Aldridge.
I think he is a loser.
He's never won anything.
I'm be honest, he is a loser.
He's never won anything.
He's a loser.
He had last season.
He bailed on Portland in the playoffs. Bailed on them.
It got a little hard, and he decided to join the Spurs. I mean, he's never made it to a conference finals. Blake's never made it to a conference finals. I mean, they're
if you had to take one, who do you take on your team right now, Marcus or Blake?
Oh, definitely. Blake. To me, he's
I'd say Blake,
skilled player.
Well, no. And if you get
all around
3 or 4 years ago, Marcus Aldridge was.
Did you imagine that fucking skull fucking he gave us?
I remember
that was bad, dude. Thorough.
Yeah, dude, he averaged like 32 against us in that series.
I think 30.
He didn't miss anything. We never saw him play like that.
Blake's never averaged 30 in any playoff. If I had to say power forward today, right now, I'm probably gonna
LaMarcus Aldridge.
LaMarcus Aldridge, yeah.
As on your all-time starting loser list.
I would put Blake over LaMarcus.
As biggest loser? What has LaMarcus ever won?
What has Blake ever won?
They can both.
Blake, LaMarcus had a young team.
One was selected number 1 overall, and the other one was selected number 4.
Speaking of number 1 picks, let me go ahead and give you guys my power forward for my starting 5 greatest losers of all time.
Let the disrespect begin.
A lot of you out there are not going to like this. You're going to think I'm being too harsh on the guy, but I got to go with, and it is young, early in his career, but I don't see the trend changing. I'm going to go with Anthony Davis of the Pelicans.
I just feel like it's
first
too early to say
First
that.
thoughts. What do you think?
Too early.
It's too early.
Too early?
Yeah, I feel like it's too early.
Well, let me go ahead and just make a couple points.
Let me hear the numbers.
So by the numbers on paper, let me give you his career averages. 21 points a game, 10 rebounds, 2.5 blocks. Sounds impressive, right? It is impressive. There's not too many guys with that skill set. Some have the rebounds, they don't have the scoring. Some have the scoring, they don't have the defense. He's now in his 5th season, guys. He's been with the same team his entire career. He's been an All-Star 3 times. My issue with Anthony Davis is, for one, he seems to miss a lot of time every season, and it's always with a very minor injury. I don't remember a time where he's actually torn something. It's always sore knee, tight hamstring. It's never been anything that would keep. If he was on a winning team, I guarantee you he plays more games. To me, it's kind of a question of heart, and maybe just getting tired of losing so much. Okay. Now the Pelicans, with him as their main guy, he's been in the league 5 seasons. He's made the playoffs 1 time. His only time ever being in the playoffs was as an 8 seed. Even at that, he could have easily missed it if they lose 1 more game.
I mean, I feel like that's just
I'm gonna add to what you're saying.
So, do you guys see him? Do you guys see it changing anytime soon?
They're
currently in the lottery right now. Am I right? They're a bottom 4 or 5 team at the moment.
My 5-man
What you know is there
is, y'all know who. Dwight Howard's the biggest fucking bum ever. That guy's the biggest bum ever. Biggest bum ever.
He carried his team to the finals that 1 season.
You can't call him a bum.
Get the fuck out of here.
You can't call him a bum.
Well,
he's a bum.
Let's think about it, guys. He did have the 1 season where he was the man. He got to the NBA Finals. I want to say they got swept or lost in 5, but
they lost to
Spurs.
I think
it was a complete mismatch. I remember the finals being super boring that year, but he had a pretty good squad around him too. He had Jameer Nelson, Courtney Lee, Rashad Lewis, Turkoglu, I believe Ryan Anderson as well.
Yeah.
So it was a decent squad, and that was back in the NBA days
Jameer
where you
Nelson.
could run an offense inside out.
You gotta give him some credit though. He led one of those teams into
JJ Redick
into beating the Cavs led by LeBron. So he beat LeBron in the playoff series. You gotta give him some credit.
Do we want
twice?
What I think
3 post moves.
That's irrelevant, dude.
Well, what I think
you're talking about 2 or 3 time defensive player of the year. Defensively, there was nobody in the league better than him for 5 years at least.
What's crazy, we had been saying that even when he wasn't a defensive player anymore. We still kept saying Dwight's going to defend the paint. He's going to do this, and he didn't do it.
But when you put him 1-on-1 with these other up and coming centers who all these dudes are killing, and then they play against Dwight kind of shut him down. He contained all these dudes that were grabbing routinely 18, 17, 19 rebounds a game.
So I think one of the main points Jason was making, one thing he mentioned that kind of popped out to me, he hasn't improved since joining the league. To me,
no, that's different.
I don't think any of us can say that through his 12 or 13 seasons now I can't say he's actually developed any post game. He's not a threat in the post, honestly, unless he's coming off of a pick and roll.
That's what was frustrating with Harden. You can't give him the ball down low. That's what was frustrating with the Lakers. Give him the ball down low, and he's not doing anything with it.
Yeah.
Like Shaq said, he needs to go away from that left hand hook that he has. It's terrible. Well, shit, if you could take that away from him, the only other move he has is a dunk, and you can defend that shit.
Yeah. In his offense, at this point, I do think he's kind of trending in that direction as far as being a fucking loser.
I mean,
but in a sense, when you watch the Rockets games, how many times did you ever see when you get in the post, turns and then he drops that shoulder, a couple of dribbles, and then he drops the shoulder, offensive foul. And back in the day, Shaq got away with that shit all the time.
Shaq knew.
I mean, I'm not saying Shaq.
It was the same. Don't say it wasn't the same thing. It was the same. It would be the same.
I'm not saying Shaq's a bum.
Little drop step with a shoulder bump, and dude's flopping. He's getting called for offensive.
So basically, what you're saying is the era had a lot to do with
for big men. Yeah.
I think
that's why you're seeing less and less big men play like that.
But think about it this way, though.
They aren't allowed to.
I think he's stuck in one way of playing, and the game has evolved.
It's evolved, yeah.
So now the game has came in and left him. So he's having
he's
trouble.
Loser. That's what you said.
He could have had a Capella. He could have had a Capella role here and averaged the same numbers he's averaging in Atlanta.
But whenever we talk about losers, isn't that a major part of being a loser? A lot of it is mentality. Dwight's
not willing to adapt.
Dwight's unwilliness to accept his role,
which is what y'all want him to be DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah,
pretty much.
DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah, that's who he is.
Had he done that here in Houston, he would have still been in Houston. When you're saying, "Oh, I need more touches," no, you don't.
And Clint Capella, guys, has somewhat produced the production that we missed from Dwight.
Dwight will be averaging more.
Don't get me wrong. Dwight's definitely the better player.
Right.
I just think he needed to have that DeAndre Jordan role. You don't hear DeAndre Jordan complaining about he needs more plays called for him. Yeah. He's a loser.
Dwight Howard, I mean, he's a loser in my book. He'll never win a championship unless you guys see Atlanta making noise. No. He's probably on his last contract. He hasn't really improved from beginning of his career to the end. At the beginning, a lot of it, we could all agree, a majority of his good seasons were pure athleticism.
Yep.
Would you not agree? I mean, he was built like a tank, jump out the gym.
Run the floor.
A lot of it is easy rebounds, easy dunks. And that works whenever you're a young player in this league. But as we've seen, he's grown and he didn't develop his skills to have an actual post game to be a threat. And
I'll give him credit as far as defense goes.
There's no player in the NBA now that was prime Dwight defense.
Oh yeah, that's
not even close. There's nobody.
How much of that is size? Would you say? Like I've always said,
I think it's a combination of everything.
Like one thing
you tell DeAndre Jordan, who was the reigning defensive player of the year, is nowhere near the player Dwight was defensively. Not even close. Not even close.
I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean he's not a loser.
He had a couple years of prime.
You want me not to put him on the list because he was an elite defender? He was an elite defender.
I'm just saying I feel like y'all are discrediting him because he was athletic.
We would never say. Here's an example, guys. We would never say Ben Wallace was a franchise player. Right?
I would take Ben Wallace over Dwight.
Wow! Oh my fucking god!
Damn.
You would? Ben Wallace, a guy averaged like 6 points a game, bro.
I'm not looking.
Meaning he couldn't even get you any dunks.
And motherfuckers struggled against him.
Dwight was better defensively.
I'm not gonna go that far.
I wouldn't say that.
I'm not gonna go that far.
God.
Both are defensive player of the years. Am I right?
Who won it multiple times?
Who would you? Who would you want guard you? Who would you prefer? What's a better matchup?
If I'm having to choose between the two,
yeah.
Ben Wallace.
You'd rather have Ben Wallace guarding you.
Ben Wallace is like 6'9".
You're not scoring shit on Ben Wallace. Dwight, he's uncoordinated sometimes. You can score on Dwight. Yeah. Ben Wallace, the Detroit Ben Wallace, that's who I want on my team.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Put Ben Wallace on the Magic. Do they beat LeBron and the Cavs? Do they go to the finals? Hell no. They don't even make the fucking playoffs. Come on, bro.
That's a good point. Again, for me, it's the improvement. Or the lack thereof. He hasn't improved. He quit on the Rockets last year. When you remember that, he actually came out and said,
he quit on the Lakers.
I quit on the Rockets. His final game as a Laker, if you guys remember, he got himself ejected from that game.
It was against the Spurs.
And he points over at Mitch Kupchak and shouts at him as he's headed to the tunnel. So, I mean, and guys, if you remember back in 2015, whenever James Harden was MVP runner-up to Steph Curry, Dwight Howard missed over half that season. And whenever he did come back toward the end of that season, he came in playing 20 minutes here, taking every other game off.
He came back from a back injury.
Yeah, right. But what I'm getting at here is James Harden was the MVP runner-up that season. What was the difference? What was similar to this season where he's the MVP top candidate? Dwight was out of the way. He missed over half the season in 2015. Harden was a MVP runner-up. They get all the way to the conference finals.
Dwight averaged 18.4 in Orlando, but he averaged 13 rebounds a game.
See, that's a little underwhelming.
blocks,
I thought it was more than that.
One steal.
That's a little underwhelming, not gonna lie. All right, guys, so there we have it. A couple key names that we mentioned for our GLOAT list again, with greatest losers of all time: Chris Paul, Joe Johnson, Anthony Davis. We didn't all agree on that one, but I'm sticking to it. Dwight Howard, and the biggest loser of all, I think there wasn't any argument about this one, was Carmelo Anthony.